Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Elden Experience podcast. I'm your co-host, Jaren.
And I am your other co-host, Gabriel.
And today, we're doing our first podcast. And real quick, I'm just going to explain what this podcast is going to be about and what our future is going to be about with this channel and with podcast, future videos and stuff. So me and Gabe, we've been close friends since about freshman year of high school, and we're pretty much like the same person, in like different bodies. We agree on everything: sports, everything, music, TV shows, games, anything entertainment we agree on, and we have really deep intellectual conversations about that kind of stuff. So we decided to create a podcast, and that's what we're gonna do today.
Just going to bless all of you with our knowledge.
Blessed. So today, our first podcast, we're gonna talk about Kendrick Lamar.
Damn.
Yeah, Kung Fu Kenny. So this man, off the recent success of his new album, damn, god damn. We're going to talk about the new album, give our thoughts on it, what we like, give it a rating, all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to talk about Kendrick Lamar's place in hip hop. Where does he rank? Is he really top 5 like he claims? Is he one of the GOATs of hip hop like he claims? We're going to break it down for you guys. So, damn. I love the album. I thought it was great. I got it early when it leaked, and I loved pretty much every second of the album. What did you think, Gabe?
Yeah, I completely agree. I listened to the midnight release of Damn, and I loved every song. There was not one song where I was just like, I don't know about this.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I kind of don't like about the album, and I was thinking more about it today, is that the album doesn't have that one sound that he had, like with Good Kid, Mad City, or To Pimp a Butterfly. Like on To Pimp a Butterfly, he had that jazzy sound with almost every track. On this album, it kind of rotates, honestly. It goes from being a really soothing melody to hardcore beats to really hardcore bass. It's just kind of all over the place, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion, but it was just a little bit all over the place, and that's why I think I would put it under a few of his albums, but it's still a very good album.
Yeah, I agree. I would also put Good Kid, Mad City at the top. Without question.
Yeah. I mean, because he goes from singing on Humble, screaming, just going off, getting everybody hyped, to a song like Loyalty, which is really slow and talking about love and stuff like that, which isn't really Kendrick's style. But I think that is honestly a good thing, because it shows how dynamic Kendrick is as an artist and how he can have so many sounds and pick any sound and make it sound great.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of the most diverse artists out there today.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But again, like I was saying, with the album all over the place, it doesn't have like a main conceptual story. Like with To Pimp a Butterfly again. It was about Black Lives Matter, black rights, black people being oppressed. Good Kid, Mad City was kind of the same, and it was growing up in a bad neighborhood in Compton, surrounded by gangs, drugs, violence, all that kind of stuff. And this album touched on a lot of different subjects. It touched on racism. It touched on money, fame, depression, love.
The rap genre in general, it touched on that a little bit.
Yeah. And it's just kind of all over the place, like I said. And it kind of speaks for itself with the song titles, like God. He talks about religion and stuff. Fear, obviously. Love, lust, humble, pride, loyalty, element. And yeah, he just talks about a lot of different subjects. And what I think Kendrick is doing is he's kind of dumbing down his music, not in a bad way, but a lot of people nowadays they don't really see Kendrick as a hit maker. They see Kendrick as an artist. With someone like Drake, when he drops a song or a single, they expect it to just be a banger, like nice beat, catchy hooks. Where Kendrick, if you listen to one song out of the album, it seems like it's out of place, and you have to listen to the whole album to really get what he's saying. And with this album, I don't really feel that way.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Actually, like pretty much like you said, humble. It's kind of a Boehner song. It's kind of a song where you could just play, and there's no story or anything that goes along with it.
Yeah,
But it's pretty cool that like people are looking at Kendrick as an artist now because we don't have too many artists in the rap game nowadays.
absolutely. But the reason why I would not put this over Good Kid, Mad City is, again, Good Kid, Mad City told a beautiful story, and with the monologues at the end of each song, with the phone calls or the conversations, and each song was almost like a storyline. Like, he goes from going out with his friends to getting cocky with his friends, getting in gangs and stuff like that. And at the very end, his brother dies, and it's just this beautiful story. And with Damn, it just doesn't have that. That's really what I'm missing. And even on the track Blood, the first track, he has this story about how he met this old blind lady walking down the street. And when I heard that first track, I was like, okay, here's the story. Here's what Kendrick's going to really portray in his music and in this album. And we didn't hear anything about that story. We didn't hear him talk about it at all, except the very last line. And it was just completely out of place, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, with the consistent storyline, there definitely wasn't one in Damn. But
Yeah.
also, like, with Good Kid, Mad City, I've been listening to that since I was like 13 years old, and I
Yeah.
still go back and listen to it. I've never gotten tired of it. That's another reason why I put it
Absolutely.
over it.
Absolutely. I think I'm gonna be listening to this album for a very long time. It's a great album. And I was actually talking to a friend about it, and he said the reason why I think this is such a dumbed down version of his true storytelling is because I was talking to a friend, and he said this was the only Kendrick album that he's liked so far, which is just a ridiculous claim, if I do say so
Yeah.
myself. But it kind of speaks for itself, because to Pimp a Butterfly is a very hard album to like. It's this grimy and has like a jazzy beat, and Kendrick's screaming on most of it, and it's just this really, like, it hits you hard. It's a hard message, but you know what it's saying. It comes across, but it comes across clear. Same with Good Kid, Mad City. You know what he's saying exactly. And with this album, there's messages, and it's kind of all over the place. Like, in a lot of songs, he's talking about, like, nobody prays for me, and if I could trade all this money away and all this fame away, and I could just have a simple life, then he would. And then he's talking about love on Loyalty. And I think Kendrick was going more for each track gets like more popularity on its own than the whole album together, because there's a few tracks on here that stand out, but they don't tie into the storyline.
Yeah, I feel like with his new album, like, each song was like its own individual chapter, and each chapter had like a different story with it. Is how I felt.
Yeah, but I would have been okay with that if there was an end to all the chapters. If
Yeah.
he tied it all together. Like Dying of Thirst type of song. Like
Yeah.
a 15-minute song that brings everything together, and you're just like, oh, I get it now. And I just didn't feel that with this album.
Yeah.
The thing is, with this album, the music sounds great. The Kendrick singing sounds amazing. The beats are amazing. some of the songs are almost like mind-blowing with all the different sounds and like tying in his voice, singing that really high-pitched and then singing that really grimy, low, gravelly type of sound. It's a great album when you listen to it, but listening to the lyrics and listening to the storyline, I don't think there really is one.
No, but yeah, I agree. And sometimes, like, I don't know, when you're listening to music, sometimes it is nice just to have a good song, like maybe not
Yeah.
like going through the entire album listening for a storyline. That's why I
Yeah.
think this album's probably gonna have a lot of success because people can listen to it and just be like, "Oh, I don't have to listen to this for the story. I
Hmm.
can just listen to it."
Yeah, like background music or driving through your car.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like with To Pimp a Butterfly, you have to really sit down and really digest what he's saying and really think about what he's saying. And this is just a viewer friendly type of thing.
Hmm.
It's kind of like watching like the a Grammy nominate or not a Grammy Oscar nominated movie and like watching a comedy. Like a comedy will easily make you laugh. You know it's going to be entertaining. But then there's a movie like Get Out, where Get Out has like a really deep storyline and you have to really think and dig deep to find out what the story is. Or like I said, you can just watch a comedy and instantly laugh and go away like happy with it.
Yeah. Exactly. Almost kind of like a guilty pleasure type of movie. Like
Yeah,
it's not technically
exactly.
a great classic, but it's good and it entertains you.
Exactly. This album, I don't think is anywhere near a classic. I
No.
don't think this is this. It's a great album,
Yeah.
great album. But I don't think we'll look back at this album 5 or 10 years later and be like, "Wow, that was really revolutionary."
Oh yeah, it's not gonna
like
go like triple platinum or anything like that.
yeah. I mean, it might go triple platinum, but still, that numbers don't really indicate how great an album is. I mean, Drake views,
Yeah.
come on. But this isn't no Good Kid, Mad City, or even To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, those two albums really moved people and really like portrayed a message. So next thing we're gonna talk about after this album dropped, is Kendrick up there with the best of them? If I'm correct, I think this is Kendrick's fifth album, if you include Untitled Unmastered, fifth studio album.
I believe so. Yeah.
Starting with Section 80. So he honestly he's still really young in his career. He hasn't fully developed, I think. And I think Kendrick the sky's the limit because like we said, he's probably one of the most, if not the most dynamic artists out there right now. This album doesn't sound like anything he's ever done. Ever. And I really praise that. So, do you think that Kendrick is in the top 5 all time? And do you think he could potentially be one of the greatest, if not the greatest rappers ever?
I think if we're looking at right now, Kendrick Lamar is without question the greatest rapper that we have right now.
Right now.
Right,
in the rap
as
game.
of right now, yes.
Absolutely.
If we're talking about all time, I think he's really close to the top 5, but I just don't think he's quite there yet.
I think because he has those. I think he has 2 classic albums. Like you could possibly argue that Overly Dedicated, his mixtape, was a classic, or you could possibly argue Section 80 was a classic. But no doubt, To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City are classics. No doubt that hands down, those 2 are classics. So Kendrick has 2 classic albums, and if we think about some of the greats, Tupac and Biggie, you have to have them in the conversation. Nas, even like Jay-Z and Kanye, those guys that are so influential. NWA, Wu-Tang, those guys. Most of those people, they had a lot of great songs, but they didn't have classic albums. Like, they had 1 or 2, but they didn't have, like, classic album on classic album on classic album. You know, obviously a few people have, But I think if Kendrick can drop a few more projects like Good Kid, Mad City, or To Pimp a Butterfly, I think he's going to be in the conversation for top 3 greatest ever.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he's easily the best rapper out there.
Oh yeah, without question.
Easily. You can't even argue that. But I think, personally, Good Kid, Mad City was one of the greatest rap albums ever. Like,
yeah.
it can be in the top 10, maybe even top 5. That album was incredible. And to a lot of people, To Pimp a Butterfly is top 10, top 20, around there. So I could definitely see an argument for Kendrick being in the top 5 ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, he's still young. He still has a lot more career to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even, like, I'm sure he's 30, but I don't even think he's close to 40 years old yet. So he could drop, like 3 or 4 more albums that could be instant classics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's kind of like comparing LeBron to Jordan right now. Like, LeBron is still in his career. He's still great. He still has a lot of years left in him. So I don't think it's fair to, see if Kendrick is in the top 5, top 10 ever yet. Mm-hmm. Because his career is still very young. Yeah. And one thing that I do really respect about Kendrick, me and you watched the Coachella performance, his Coachella performance. It was incredible. The way that he got the crowd into it, and the way that he could even make a story, make a movie with his music. It's amazing. Like, I don't see very many artists, if any artists, doing that now.
Yeah, exactly. And if you noticed, I don't know how much longer you watched afterwards, but directly after his concert, the entire crowd was chanting "Encore."
Oh yeah,
like they love him.
Yeah, and Kendrick, like I said with To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City, those albums are kind of hard to digest, and he has a lot of fans, but he doesn't gather the attention from like young teenage girls or like adults and people like that. Like, he captures mainly like the 25 to 16 males, like around that age. Mm-hmm. But that age group is super dedicated to Kendrick. But I think with this album, he's starting to grab those people and bring them in. Like, he's creating a much broader audience for himself.
Yeah, and I think as of right now, he's one of the few rappers that can, what's the word I'm looking for? Poor teenagers from the ghetto can relate to, basically.
Yeah.
A lot of rappers can't really do that nowadays.
Absolutely. That's a great topic. People let's sing of the top hip-hop artists, like Drake. I don't know, but the big artists today, like Lil Yachty, like Kodak Black, those the big artists right now. They talk about money, and they talk about bitches, and they talk about drugs, alcohol, chilling on my yacht, driving my $1 million car. That's and Kendrick, he talks about real grimy issues, things that people don't want to say, but that need to be said, and he does it well.
That people don't realize is happening.
Absolutely, and half the time rappers talk about getting money and bitches and stuff. It's lies. Half the time, it's complete lies. So that's why I really respect Kendrick. Like we said, he's a true artist. He's so great. And I don't think people respect his greatness right now, but I think once he's done with music, I think people are going to respect his music a lot more. Because I don't think Kendrick's going to be one of those people that's around for 10 or 15 years. I think once he hits his peak, I think he's going to be done. I think he's going to leave.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that would probably be the best decision because, To Pimp a Butterfly, it was alright. I wasn't crazy about it, but I feel like after he hits his peak, he'll probably go back to doing To Pimp a Butterfly, not so good rap songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because To Pimp a Butterfly was a hard sound to digest and a hard album to get a liking for. It was like we said, it was a really grimy, hardcore, jazzy. It was so many sounds mixed together, and to a lot of people, that was easily his best album. People said that was the best rap album in the last 10 years, and that's something that I didn't agree with. I thought Good Kid, Mad City was totally on another level compared to that album. But you have to respect how he can portray a message with an album like that. Like how he can get a movement going with an album like that. Because I don't see many artists doing that.
Yeah, it's true. Honestly, I think Kendrick is probably the only rapper who's been able to like speak out about Black Lives Matter in a way like that.
Yeah, he doesn't hide behind bullshit. He just directly says it. Like one of his lines, he said, and we hate the po-po, wanna kill us dead in the streets for a show. Like, what other rapper says stuff like that? Like, he's directly coming out and saying that kind of stuff, and he's not hiding behind it. He's using his voice for good. He's using his popularity in pop culture for great. Mm-hmm. And I really respect that.
Yeah, like, no rappers nowadays come out and say, like, fuck the police, or the police are murderers. Mm-hmm. But Kendrick does have the balls to say that, which is crazy. Yeah.
And he doesn't just touch on subjects like that. Like, he talks about depression a lot in this new album, Damn. He talks about fame and how fame is overrated and how he doesn't enjoy it anymore. And he talks about rap and how rap is completely falling off and how he's probably the last one left. And how, because he says, you know, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 greatest rapper alive. Like, he's saying he's 1 through 5 best right now.
Mm-hmm. You can't argue with that. I mean, like, it's true, basically.
Yeah. No, like, nobody... When people try to say that Drake is better than Kendrick, I instantly am just, nah. Like, nah. You have nothing good to say. Yeah. I already know what kind of person you are. You have no knowledge for me. Like, if they said that Drake was better than Kendrick, and then they said, the next sentence they said that the sun is bright and hot, like, I would just be like, no, you're just lying. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Because, like, sure, Drake is always going to sell albums. Drake is always going to put up the numbers. But, like Kendrick said in The Heart Part 4, he said there's a difference between astonishments and accomplishments. Drake, he gets all the accomplishments. He sells his albums like crazy. He's one of the most successful artists ever. But Kendrick, he like astonishes people with his albums. He makes them really like take a step back and be like, whoa, this guy really knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and Drake says he's the greatest rapper alive. And a lot of people proclaim that Drake is the greatest rapper alive. Mm-hmm. But in all honesty, no.
He's not even a rapper.
No, he's
poppy. He claims.
Yeah.
He steals everybody's flows. He steals You know what? We're not even going to talk about this. We'll just sit here for another hour. If you guys want to see a podcast about us talking shit about Drake, Let us know. Because we got files on files on 5
hours worth of material that we could just
research went into this. We went to the labs.
Seriously,
all
we
right?
were in the library for 3 days researching this.
Yeah, we got some shit on Drake. So that was today's Elden experience. I hope you had the most wonderful, beautiful experience.
Oh, I know I did.
Absolutely. If you guys did enjoy the podcast, though, please like this, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We really would appreciate it. We're just starting out. So if you're at the end of the video, thank you for the support. And, share this with a Kendrick fan. Share it with a Kendrick fan. I know you know a Kendrick fan. Share it with one. Real quick. But yeah, thank you for tuning in to today's podcast. And Gabe, hit him with some knowledge real quick.
Remember, kids, if you can't hack it, double bag it.